Karen, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
This is the first time we've actually gotten to meet. So this is kind of a new face for Wine Wednesday, and we've got a new beverage for Wine Wednesday as well. But I want to get to know you a little bit more because, like I said, this is our first interaction. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been with Calgary Co-op now going on my 8th year. Pretty exciting. I'm actually located out of our Beddington location. It's a tasting center as well. And we host a lot of great classes out of that location.
Talk a little bit about your past in alcohol, how you got involved in this in the first place.
Oh, I had a hobby of drinking. That's how I think all of us get
I think that's how it all starts, right?
Well, I think it all started with actually a passion for cooking and then the intrigue about what's going to go with the food that you're having and finding something that isn't going to overpower the food. Because I find one of the biggest mistakes that I was making was I spent all that time making this amazing food, and then I would have the wine, and the wine would overpower all the work that I had gone into. So that was kind of the aha moment when you found that perfect wine that complemented everything that I'd worked hard for.
Anything take you by surprise thus far over the last 8 years in terms of I would have never guessed in a million years that I would be doing this, for example?
Well, I wouldn't have guessed that I could make money doing something that is so amazing and passionate and inspiring people every day to try new things. I think that this is the best job I've ever found.
Tell me about your travels and that kind of thing, because I know talking to Eric and Mike, that seems to be one of the perks of the job.
It is. I mean, I think, it's one of those things. I think even when you went into radio, you never listened to the radio the same way again, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's when you travel or even when we go out for dinner, you don't experience the same way that you would. It's even when I go to a Mexican resort, I look at the menu and look at the options that I have. And I mean, when you're in Mexico, believe it or not, I find passion in the sparkling wine that they have there. Anything you can have bubbles to actually makes everything happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it's so funny to watch you, and I'm a big believer in auras and all that kind of thing. I'll get into that some other day, but it's amazing to see, like, I gather you're just a bundle of energy, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I am actually. I'm like a puppy every single day. I, wake up in the morning, I just want to jump out of bed and have fun.
It's got to be
absolutely.
Tough. That's got to be tough to do what you love and not have to worry about working a day in your life kind of thing.
It is true. When I walk into work every single day, I enjoy what I do.
So let's do a little bit of work here and talk about what we've got here today. It's something a little different. It is Wine Wednesday, but we're also broadcasting from Eau Claire Distillery. So we'd be remiss if we didn't try one of their great products. Tell us a little bit about what's in this can. It's not a bottle. It's weird.
Well, and the exciting thing is you can actually get wine in cans. So why not get cocktails in cans? And one of the fastest growing categories is actually rosé. So why not have a rosé gin? And rosé gins are amazing. Eau Claire Market, I think, was ahead of the game, and they were making rosé gin back in 2017. They launched it for Valentine's Day, and this is a kind of a take on the Tom Collins. That goes back over 125 years, and they decided to make it easy for the consumer, and great for patio parties, great for barbecues, and they've done it with cherries, so a nice tart cherry. So when you look at it in the glass, you might actually think that it's rosé and it might be sweet, but it's actually a tart cherry, so it's actually quite refreshing.
Interesting to note is that you go back to even just the packaging and the bottle and versus a can. And is that a move that's being seen across the industry in terms of trying different ways of providing a different kind of product?
Well, it is more about convenience, in my opinion. I think for the consumer, it's great to have options out there, and it doesn't really affect the quality of it. And surprisingly enough, I think it is a convenient option for that consumer. And the great thing is they don't have to purchase a whole bottle when they're going out to maybe a patio party at a friend's house. They don't have to bring a whole bottle with them, and it is convenient.
Talk a little bit about the packaging on this one, because it's really fascinating, and I take this from whether it's beer or any other liquor, is that a lot of the makers are really looking at making sure they put their stamp literally on the product.
Well, there is a story, I think, behind every single label, and this one actually has magpies on them. And like they said, magpies are a social animal. The magpies, are eating the cherries off the tree, and so they're paying homage to the magpies that are in the area of Eau Claire Distillery. So social animals, it's a social cocktail. So why not have them on the label?
What makes Southern Alberta such a strong place? And I know beer's one thing, but you're starting to see places like Eau Claire Distillery, and you're starting to see, I believe there's one out in Banff as well. There's a distillery out there. Like there's a lot of different pockets that are setting up across this province. What's making it such an attractive spot?
Well, I mean, we can't really grow grapes. So let's look at other options. And I mean, they are sourcing barley locally. And that is one thing that we can do. I mean, we ship a lot of barley out of Alberta to even as far as Japan. And why not do something with it here? It's something that we haven't honed in on. It's now launching, and from microbrews to gin to whiskeys. And I'm excited about where it's taking us.
Talk a little bit about your education. We were talking about it a little bit earlier on, but you're obviously very what's the word I'm looking for? You're very knowledgeable in it, but you're still learning, are you not?
Oh, I'm addicted to it, actually. It's one of those things where it's humbling. You start off with one portion of education, and you almost think that you know it all. You're like, wow, I feel empowered. And then you meet somebody who knows more than you, and you're like, oh, okay, it's time to go back and learn more. And then you keep learning, and then it's like you're digging a hole, and it's like, oh, wow, there's more to dig into. And so, I started my education over 7 years ago, got my master's in Champagne, master's in Provence. I've gone back to school because with Co-op, we actually teach WSET. And so with WSET, it's like being a doctor in another country, and you come to Canada, you have to get your education in Canada as well. So now to teach for different layers of WSET, I've gone back and got my diploma, or I'm working on my diploma for WSET right now. So it's exciting. And so I do a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and it's intense, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Where's the coolest place you've ever gone?
Oh my goodness. Well, Airdrie is pretty exciting. It's growing. It's fastest growing community in Canada. No, I would say Provence has been pretty fantastic. Northern Italy was pretty amazing. That was, seeing the Nebbiolo fog in the evening roll down the hill as you're having dinner. No textbook can teach you that. So that was pretty fantastic.
That is awesome. On that note, I'm going to give this a little sip and get my 411 on it, but give us a little bit more detail on it and what they can find, or where they can find it in store, and the price as well. Okay.
So first of all, let's get that off the table. This is on at Calgary Co-op. Goes on sale tomorrow. It's going to be $3 off, $11.49. But in the glass, it's actually, they carbonate their own water. I think it's vintage tap water, from Calgary, which is pretty fantastic and hard to find. Just kidding on that one. They've put some lemon in there, some nice simple syrup in there. They try to locally source, cherries when they can, but that's not always in season. So they get some from Washington, some from Idaho, locally sourced barley in there as well. And of course, their own distilled gin from the Eau Claire Distillery.
That is fantastic, and it is a very tasty one. You can definitely tell that it's cherry in there. Karen Crippen from Co-op Wine, Spirits, and Beer. Thanks for coming in for the first time with me anyways.
Thank you very much.